Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Today we're going to take a look at my August 2024 inked pens. So they're pens that I've currently got inked up. They aren't part of my pens in use rotation, and they're also not pens that I'm currently just got inked up just to make a video. So we'll jump on in with the Jinhao 992. This is in this gorgeous green colour. Now the Pen BBS pens, very similar colour, they call it Mojito, but it's this beautiful transparent green. Cartridge converter pen. There we go. I do intend one day to try an eyedropper this, or if not this one of my other 992s. It is a bit of a short pen. It's not really a pocket pen, but it is quite short. When you see the price, you'll understand why. Posted, quite nice. Doesn't feel too back heavy. Got a smallish nib there, that smallish Jinhao nib. So our first pen is a Jinhao 992. This has a fine nib. The ink is by Diamine, and it's Velvet Emerald. Beautiful green ink to go with a beautiful green pen. Do you know, have I spelled that wrong? Yes, I have. Let's cross it out. We've got space. Emerald. Isn't that a good start? My first pen, and I'm already getting wrong spellings. The price for this pen, it's a massive $2.22. These are all the prices there, Aussie dollars. You know, you can't go wrong. A $2 pen writes really well. I've got a number of these, had no issues with any of them. They all write. And this, I believe, has been sat there maybe a month, maybe just under a month, but it's still writing first time. So that's the Jinhao 992. We're sticking with Jinhao, and we're going for a Jinhao 82. This is in the transparent colour. Really nice. I don't know if you can see here, this little bit of a frosting. That's actually a cap liner. Again, when I tell you the price, you'll understand why this is exceptional value. Metal fittings this time. Here's a cartridge converter. I'm just going to pop the cap on, fetching that 992, just so you can see. Smaller than the 992. Very reminiscent of a Sailor Pro Gear Slim to me, this. It does feel quite small. Again, posts quite nicely. Section, similar to the 992, the section does feel a bit on the thin side. Then we've got there, this time we've got a two-tone nib. So this is a Jinhao 82 with a medium nib. The ink in here by Diamine, and it's Tempest. Most of the inks in my pens at the moment are Diamine inks, and most of them they're Inkvent inks, purely because I want to start working through them small 12ml bottles. The price for this pen, again, I'm going to give you with cents, $6.14. Another cheap pen. Again, another pen that writes well. The nib on this, to me, does feel a little bit stiffer than what I was feeling with that 992. So that's the Jinhao 82. Next, still with Jinhao, we've got here a Jinhao 80. This is in the white colour. Body shape-wise, very reminiscent of a Lamy 2000. It's a very light pen, does feel quite light. Cartridge converter, metal fittings. Longer pen this time. Wider feeling section as well, which is nice. Does posts quite nicely. I use this unposted though. I try to use my pens unposted where possible. The nib on here, it's a Jinhao nib, but it's a Lamy, is a Z88 style nib. So it's the same nib that you would get on a Lamy Safari. And one of my other Jinhao 80s, I've actually put a Lamy Safari nib on it. So this is a Jinhao 80. The nib on here is a fine. The ink by Diamine. And it's Elf. Price for this pen, $6.15. So 3 fairly inexpensive pens there. That one's the Jinhao 80. So that's the end of the Jinhao pens for today. We're going to take a jump up in price to the Kaigaloo 316. This is the Aloe pattern. I love this. I love the way this looks. It's ever so slightly translucent. So I can see the converter through there. Not sure if that comes through on the camera though. Another cartridge converter. There we go. Not a lot of ink left in this one. I think what I'm going to do after I've written in here, well, assuming it writes, I'm going to pop that into the clean out jar. Black section and black end finials. Looks a lot, doesn't it, like a package duofold. Number 6 size nib. There we go. This is a Kaigaloo nib. So we've got a Kaigaloo. Yeah, it does right. Kaigaloo 316 with a medium nib. I do find that the Kaigaloo nibs are very generous writers. The ink in here is by Diamine. And it's Alpine. Beautiful green ink again. That's 3 green inks we've had in the first 4 pens. As I said, we are going up in price now. We're up to 28 Aussie dollars. Very smooth nib, beautiful to write with. And as I say, I've found most of my Kaigaloos, the nibs are very wide writers. So that's the Kaigaloo 316. And as I say, into the clean out pot. Let's move the page up ever so slightly. We don't need the title now. For the next pen, we're going to take a trip to India. And this is the Handwrite Heritage in the green swirl. Beautiful pen. Lovely. Very light feeling. It's a piston filler. If I can avoid throwing this cap away. Unlike a lot of my piston fillers where this is what you twist to work it, this is just a blind cap that hides this piston mechanism here. I think that's a nice touch. We have got an ink window. I like piston fillers with ink windows, so you've got an idea for how much ink is in there. Section, continuing this green swirl colour. And then on here, I've got a number 6 Handwrite nib. This one is my extra broad nib. Nice fit in the hand, doesn't need to be posted. Again, will post. So this is a Handwrite Heritage with an extra broad or a double broad nib. The ink in here is by Pure Pens and it's John Frost. Although it's labelled as a Pure Pens ink, it's actually made for them by Diamine. The price of this pen, 41 Aussie dollars. Got a couple of these heritage models, both very nice. Our next pen is back to China for the Asvine P20. P, so it's a piston filling model. Here's the piston mechanism. Gorgeous colouring in this. Look at the way that's shining as I turn it around. Absolutely stunning pen. I've got an ink window on here. Fairly narrow, but it's usable. I would prefer it if it was a little bit wider, I've got to be honest. Section, again, continuing that colour. I like the shape of the section. I hold my pens down near the bottom so my fingers fit so nicely here. There we've got a number 6 Asvine nib. So this is the Asvine P20. And this has got a medium nib. The ink is by Diamine and it's Ruby Blues. Nice sheen in ink, has a nice red sheen to it. Price for this pen, 46 Aussie dollars. Only had this a short while. This is still the first fill of it, but really enjoy writing with this pen. Up next, from Wing Sun. So we're staying in China. We've got here a Wing Sun 630. This is in this beautiful red colour. Piston filler. Here's a piston knob. nice, wide, generous ink window. That's the size of ink window I like to see. It's hard to see the ink through here though, because it's a fairly dark ink in a fairly dark pen. The section, really nice. Look at that. Look at the width of that section. Look at the size of that pen. Look at the size of this nib, a number 8 nib. Steel nib, 2-tone, I really like this. And I say this section, oh, so nice. It's nice and wide. So we've got here a wing sun. A little bit of an issue there when it was starting. A wing sun, 630 with a fine nib. The ink is by Diamine and it's mulled wine. The price for this pen, again, is 46 Aussie dollars. Very nice pen. I say it's nice width, nice weight, it feels nice in the hand. So that's a Wing Sun 630. We're going to stay with Wing Sun for a Wing Sun 699. So this is the Pilot 823 inspired pen. This particular model is a piston filling pen. You can get them with a vacuum as well. I like this piston one. Piston takes up, it's down to here, so it's roughly maybe between a third and a half of the barrel is the piston. But you can get some really good fills of ink on this. Love this blue colour as well. So again, that blue following through there into the section. And we've got here that Wing Sun nib. There we go. So it's primarily gold coloured with silver highlights. Another one, nice fit in the hand. Another one, posts really well. The section, a little bit narrower though than we saw on that previous Wing Sun. So this is the Wing Sun 699. The nib on here is a medium. Our ink is by Diamine. And it's also Ruby Blues, which we saw earlier. Price for this pen, you're looking at roughly 46 Aussie dollars. I do like this Ruby Blue. This is the first Inkvent ink that I've managed to use up, so in one respect I'm quite glad, but I will miss it. It's a nice colour. Let's move the page up ever so slightly. Now I'm going to go to a different manufacturer. This is the Pen BBS, and it's a Pen BBS 323. Love this. This is the aluminium version. There's also a resin version. I love the shape. It's like undulating up and down. Reminds me a little bit of looking at a fish, I've got to be honest. Cartridge converter, can you hear that squeaking? It's a very noisy pen to take the body off. Metal section, aluminium section, same colour. Another one is nice and comfortable to hold. I've changed the nib on this. This has got a Goulet Yoho broad nib on it. The nib that came with this was a fine nib. I'm not that much into fine nibs at the moment. I don't mind them, but I do like my broad nibs, so I thought let's swap the nibs. It's a number 6 nib. It's dead simple to swap. So we've got here a Pen BBS 323. See, it's got a beautiful broad nib. The ink is by Diamine, and it's Pick Me Up. Nice dark brown ink. The price for this pen, 53 Aussie dollars. I do like the aluminium version, and I do like the fact I can swap the nibs dead easy. So that was a Pen BBS 323. My next pen is also by Pen BBS. This is the Pen BBS 487. This colour pattern is called Corduroy. Again, nice, transparent, pretty looking pen. You can't really see the pattern here on the body, apart from where we've got the lighter shades. This is a magnetic filling pen. Doesn't work, so all I do when I'm filling it is actually unscrew the section and I eyedropper fill this pen. That's why I can get so much ink in it really easy. Nice section, again, very similar size to what we're seeing on that Pen BBS 323. This one, I've left the Pen BBS nib on here. Again, number 6 nib. Maybe I need to change this one. I've got a few nibs I could pop in here. So we've got a pen BBS 487. The nib on here is a fine nib. Let me just check something. I just had to check because I don't know why in my notes I've got that it's got a Jinhao nib on it. It's not. It's a pen BBS nib. The ink is by Diamine. And it's Silent Night. Again, another nice dark ink. Looks to me, when I'm writing with it, looks green, but it's got an unusual colour, I think is the best way to describe it. Price for this pen is 65 Aussie dollars. So although this is saying it's a fine nib, to me, it looks like it's writing very similar to the pen above it, which is a broad. So, yeah, something to bear in mind with pen BBS nibs. You can play around with them. And that's what I've done with this to widen that line. So that's a pen BBS 487. Last 3 pens. This one, we're going to Japan. This is the Pilot Prera. So this one, it's a pocket pen. It's a small pen. I love the fact here we can see that ink sloshing around. I love here where we've got this slight, there's actually a cap liner, which is what makes this slightly opaque. The cap pulls on and off. It's one of my little quibbles. I wish it was a twist off. I've eyedroppered this. You can use a cartridge, you can use a converter. I just prefer taking the risk. It's the first time I've done this and I've had no issues so far. I'm enjoying this eyedroppered. I have to post this pen. Unposted, it's just too small. Posted, it's quite nice. That section, it is a bit on the thin side. So we've got here a Pilot Prera. And on here we've got a medium nib. The ink is by Diamine. And it's Tranquility. Hopefully I'd got this mixed up enough. Yeah, you can see here there's a nice gold shimmer to it. The price for this pen is 76 Aussie dollars. It's a pocket pen though, it's handy. As I say, because of the pull-off cap, I don't put it in my pocket. I'm just worried that I'll accidentally pull that off when I'm moving around. So that's that Pilot Prera. Over to the US for the final 2 pens. Although the companies are US companies, I believe both these pens are made in China. The first one, it's the Narwhal Schuylkill. This one is in Chromis Teal. Beautiful colour. Piston filling pen. We have an ink window. Again, me being very picky, I'd like that ink window a little bit bigger, but it's more than livable. Material continuing down. Very nice fit in the hand, nice and comfortable. So we've got here a Narwhal Schuylkill. This has a medium nib. The ink is by Herban. And it's Diablo Month. Price for this pen, you're looking at 96 Aussie dollars. So a little bit of a jump in price there. Beautiful blue ink though, this. And I think it goes alright with this Chromis Teal. So that's the Narwhal Schuylkill. Final pen, under 100 Aussie dollars. This is a Monteverde Ritma. This is in this beautiful olive colour. It's a metal pen, there is some weight to it. The cap, magnetic, so you can feel that here as I'm trying to put that on. There we go. It posts here where the body comes in at this metallic looking part. That's where it posts onto. And again, the magnet kicks in. There we go, click. Cartridge converter. There we go. All metal fittings. It's an all metal pen. To me, this has got a very industrial design to it. We've got here the section, and then we've got a number 6 nib. This is made for Monteverde by Yoho. So we've got a Monteverde. Ritma. With a broad nib. It's about to write medium there. The ink by Diamine. and it's mistletoe. Price for this pen, 98 Aussie dollars. With this pen, one of the things I have found, it doesn't like shimmer inks. If I put a shimmer ink into here, I find that it blocks the feed and it just stops flowing. But with standard inks, I had no issues. So that's the Monteverde Ritma. It's time now to look at the pens that are over 100 Aussie dollars. Just dropping in to interrupt your regular programming. Would you like to help support the channel? If so, please consider joining as a member. As a member, you'll get early access to my videos. I normally upload them a couple of days before they go out, and as soon as they're uploaded, they'll be released to members. There'll also be a shout out at the end of the videos, and then as we get the members coming in, we'll actually chat among ourselves and work out what other perks, what other things you'd like me to add in. You know, would you like maybe a monthly live chat just for members? All down to us. So please, if you can, consider joining the channel. A link will be in the description down below. Today, I've only got 3 pens over 100 Aussie dollars, and they're also all made by Aussie turners. The first one is just turn-ins. This is the Mimas model, and this is black copper. This is a material he actually pours himself. Beautiful. Hopefully you can see the copper colours coming out there. Cartridge converter. Loads of threads on there. We've got here that section again following through with that copper material. Yoho nib, I went for this black one. There's loads of options that he's got available. Nice fit in the hand, nice light pen, doesn't post. So we've got here a just turn-ins. I do like my just turn-ins pens. Well, I like all my Aussie pens, I've got to be honest. It's the Mimas. And this one's got a medium nib. The ink is by Diamine. And it's vintage copper. Nearly ran out of space there. Price for this pen, 170 Aussie dollars, which I think for a handmade pen is exceptional value. It really is. So that's the Just Turn-ins Mimas. The next pen, also by Just Turn-ins, this is the Enceladus. This material is made by Jonathan Brooks, so it's a Brooks Blanks, and it's called Golden Blue Jay. Beautiful. Although this is looking black, it's actually a dark blue. Very pretty. Loads of different colours in here. Very similar to the other one. Cartridge converter. Section continuing through. This time I went for a gold coloured nib. There we go. Another Yoho nib there. So we've got here a just turn-ins. And it's the Enceladus. Enceladus. This one's got a broad nib on it. The ink, strangely enough, is by Diamine, and it's a Rainbow's End. Down to the next line, Rainbow's End. And the price for this pen, when I got it, was 185 Aussie dollars. That was about 18 months ago, so I know it's gone up in price. A lot of the price is there because of the material. If you're interested in any of these hand-turned pens, if I haven't put the links in the description, please just drop me a message and I'll send you details on how I get in touch with them. Very nice pen though, it really is quite pretty. Contact the makers though, they'll be able to give you updated prices because the prices can vary depending on the model, the material, what options you want with it. But all these Australian makers really, really approachable. So that was a Just Turn-ins Enceladus. Our final pen, say it's still an Aussie hand-turned pen. This is my Pens by Casey Mokuzai 13, and this material is Northern York Gumbo. So a wooden pen, it's got a gloss finish to it, which I think goes really well on this pen. This pen, oh, it's so nice. It's absolutely gorgeous. The wood is a Western Australian wood. It actually grows about 100 kilometres from where I live is where its growing range starts. So fairly local for me. Beautiful. We've got an ebonite section on here. Now I'm showing you the section before I take this off. It is a cartridge converter, but inside the body it's all ebonite lined. Inside the cap it's ebonite lined. Attention to detail, doesn't that make a lot of difference? Here we've got again a Yoho nib. This time it's a silver one. So this is a Pens by Casey. And it's the Mokuzai 13 with a 1.1 stub nib. The ink, I don't know, I'm losing my marbles. It's by Diamine. And it's Bar Humbug. I love the natural line variation you get from a stub nib. Price for this pen. Now, this is not a cheap pen. It's 400 Aussie dollars. By not cheap, 400's a lot of money. But I think it's inexpensive. You've got to remember, hand turned. You've got to remember it's wood, which is harder to turn than the resins. There's an awful lot of work gone into making this pen. An awful lot of time gone into making this pen. So I think 400 is very reasonable. It's just not cheap. But I still enjoy, I love writing with it. So that's my Pens by Casey pen. Just pull this down ever so slightly. So they're the pens that I've got in my pen case at the moment. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. What pens have you got inked up in your pen case? Why not drop a comment down below? Let's kickstart the conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.